So at some point, people just got together and just fixed it to be 1852 to prevent any confusion. Now this became the world standard. So that's used for the horizontal distance. For the vertical distance, that is used for the aircraft altitude. We've seen this like IFR clearance example during the last class. Flight level 340, which means the altitude is 34,000 feet. So for the altitude of the aircraft, the standard unit is feet. And that's all over the world, not just America. So feet, 1 feet, is exactly 0.3048 meter. That's all. I mean, there's no more decimals here. And this is, again, another world standard. Now, a couple of weird things. For the feet, they use 1 feet is 12 inches. So not 10 base. So 1 inch is exactly 2.54 centimeter. So if you buy a ruler in America, it will have inches, and every 12 inch it says 1 foot. And it's kind of, you might feel that's weird. However, if you actually use that to, let's say, make a furniture, you measure the wood and you cut. 12 is quite convenient than you think, because you can divide this by 2, 3, 4, 6. And especially the 10 base system, it's usually good, but always when you try to draw something, the inconvenience comes from it, you cannot divide it by 3. You may have experienced that when you were a kid trying to make something. So there's always good and bad. Anyway, for inches and feet, it's 12 inches is 1 foot. Now, because it's 30, for the approximation, it's enough. You can just quickly, approximately calculate something just by using 1 foot is 0.3 meters. Now another distance comes in is statute mile. So that's usually used in America for the distance on the road and to express the speed of the car. And it goes with the feet unit, and it's exactly 5280 feet. And this is approximately 0.6 kilometer. Now, usually the statute mile is not used a lot in the aviation, other than the requirement for the cloud clearance. The cloud clearance means if you are flying VFR, then the pilot have to stay outside of the cloud, cannot go inside the cloud, because if you are in the cloud, you cannot see anything else. So there's some requirements depending on the airspeed, how far you have to stay away from the cloud, and that's expressed in the statute miles. Other than that, it's not used much. Now, so this is kind of not that important. Another important thing is because we have the new distance unit, that's nautical mile, we will have a new speed unit. So nautical mile per hour instead of kilometers per hour that you're familiar with. 1 nautical mile per hour is 1.825 kilometers per hour. And this is, sometimes you use KTS or knots. So that's the speed knots. Again, they started using this speed for the ships. And then after, the aviation industry adapted this unit. So for the airplane, the standard unit for the speed is knots. It's not your meters per second. So for like a Boeing 777, their typical cruise speed is somewhere around 450 to 500 knots. Now, again, you guys are aerospace engineers, so sometimes, if you go back to this one, then you have to always think about the unit. If you want this to be in newtons, then this has to be kilograms per cubic meter. This has to be square meter. So this has to be meters per second. So if I give you a problem to calculate the CL of a Boeing 777 flying at 450 knots, then you'll have to convert knots to meters per second. And that's actually not that bad, because 1 knot is 1852 meters per 3600 seconds. So it turns out to be 0.5144 meters per second. So approximately it's just a half. So if the Boeing 777 is flying at 500 knots, it's about 250 meters per second. So you can kind of use that approximation to check your calculation.